The stars shimmered like diamonds scattered across the velvet expanse of space, their light flickering faintly as if whispering secrets to those who dared to listen. In a distant galaxy, nestled among ethereal nebulae and orbiting twin suns, lay the planet Luminara, a realm so breathtakingly beautiful that it seemed plucked from dreams themselves. Its skies were painted in hues of lavender and gold, its forests glowed softly with bioluminescent flora, and its oceans sparkled with an otherworldly luminescence. But what truly made Luminara extraordinary was not its landscapes, it was its ruler. Queen Seraphine, known throughout the cosmos as the gorgeous alien queen, was a vision of perfection. Her skin shimmered with an iridescent sheen, catching the light like liquid silver under the twin suns. Eyes the color of amethysts held depths that could pierce through time itself, while her flowing hair cascaded down her back in waves of midnight blue streaked with strands of starlight. She was not just a queen by title but also by presence, a being whose very existence commanded awe and reverence. Seraphine had ruled Luminara for over 1,000 years, her leadership marked by wisdom, grace, and unparalleled strength. Yet, despite her immense power, she carried within her a profound loneliness. For centuries, she had lived bound by a sacred vow of celibacy, a promise made to preserve her purity and ensure her focus remained solely on protecting her people. It wasn't merely tradition, it was destiny. The vow was said to be tied directly to the balance of energy sustaining Luminara's fragile ecosystem. Breaking it would risk unraveling everything she held dear. For centuries, this vow had been easy to uphold. Few beings in the universe possessed the audacity, or the allure, to tempt her. And yet, fate has a way of weaving threads where none should exist, pulling at hearts in ways no one can predict. Little did Seraphine know that her carefully guarded life was about to collide with something entirely unexpected: humanity. On Earth, amidst the chaos of war-torn cities and crumbling alliances, stood Captain Orion Drake. A soldier forged in fire and tempered by loss, he bore scars both visible and invisible. His once boyish charm had hardened into rugged determination, his piercing green eyes now reflecting years of battles fought and comrades lost. Standing tall at 6'2", with broad shoulders and a chiseled jawline, Orion cut an imposing figure, but it was his unwavering sense of justice that truly set him apart. Orion hadn't always been a warrior. Once, he dreamed of exploring the stars, of charting unknown galaxies and uncovering mysteries beyond imagination. Those dreams, however, were shattered when his homeworld fell victim to political greed and violence. He enlisted in the Interstellar Defense Coalition, IDC, hoping to protect others from suffering the same fate. Over the years, he became one of their finest soldiers, renowned for his tactical brilliance and unyielding courage. Yet beneath the armor and accolades lay a man burdened by guilt and longing, for peace, for connection, for something more than endless conflict. It was during a routine reconnaissance mission near the edge of uncharted territory that Orion's path crossed with the enigmatic Queen Seraphine. Tasked with investigating strange energy readings emanating from a nearby sector, Orion found himself hurtling toward Luminara aboard a battered scout ship. What began as a simple assignment quickly spiraled into something far greater, and far more dangerous, than anyone could have anticipated. As Orion approached Luminara, alarms blared across his cockpit console. The readings indicated unstable gravitational forces surrounding the planet, making entry perilous. Ignoring protocol, and perhaps driven by reckless curiosity, he adjusted course and descended into the swirling vortex of colors enveloping the atmosphere. The turbulence rattled his ship violently, throwing sparks from exposed wires and causing instruments to short-circuit. Just as despair began to creep in, a sudden burst of light illuminated the viewport, revealing the surreal beauty of Luminara below. But before Orion could fully process what he saw, his ship shuddered violently again and plummeted toward the surface. Trees loomed large as he struggled to regain control, branches clawing at the hull until finally, with a deafening crash, the vessel came to rest deep within the glowing forest. Dazed but alive, Orion staggered out of the wreckage, only to find himself face to face with a group of luminous figures wielding crystalline weapons aimed squarely at his chest. "Who dares invade our sacred land?" demanded a voice behind the armed guards. Turning slowly, Orion froze as his gaze met Queen Seraphine's. Time seemed to stop. Her regal bearing and unearthly beauty left him momentarily speechless. Summoning every ounce of composure, he raised his hands in surrender. "I mean no harm," he said, his voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through him. I'm Captain Orion Drake of the IDC. My ship malfunctioned. I didn't intend to trespass. Seraphine studied him intently, her violet eyes narrowing slightly. There was something about this human, his raw vulnerability masked by quiet strength, that intrigued her. Against all logic, she felt compelled to spare him. With a wave of her hand, she dismissed her guards. "You will come with me," she declared, her tone leaving no room for argument. As they walked side by side through the glowing forest, neither realized how profoundly this encounter would alter their lives forever. In the days that followed, Seraphine kept Orion under close watch, curious about the stranger who had fallen from the sky. She assigned him quarters in the opulent palace, though they were hardly luxurious by royal standards, more akin to gilded confinement. Guards flanked him at all times, ensuring he couldn't wander too far or cause trouble. Yet, despite these precautions, Seraphine found herself drawn to him, sneaking moments to observe him from afar. What fascinated her most was his resilience. Despite being thrust into an alien world where everything, from the language to the customs, was foreign, Orion adapted with remarkable ease. He learned quickly, picking up phrases in Luminaran dialects and even attempting to mimic local gestures. During meals served in the grand dining hall, he asked endless questions about the planet's history, culture, and technology. His genuine curiosity disarmed even the stiffest courtiers, earning him cautious respect. Their interactions grew frequent, often starting as formal exchanges but evolving into deeper conversations. One evening, while strolling through the palace gardens bathed in twilight, Seraphine asked, "Why do you fight, Orion? Surely there must be easier paths for someone of your intellect." He paused, staring at the shimmering flowers around them. "Because I've seen what happens when good people do nothing," he replied softly. "And because, sometimes, I think I'm searching for something worth fighting for." That answer lingered in Seraphine's mind long after their walk ended. For centuries, she had believed her purpose was singular, to safeguard Luminara and honor her vow. Now, faced with Orion's unshakable conviction, she began to question whether duty alone could fulfill her heart. Meanwhile, Orion grappled with his own emotions. At first, he told himself his growing admiration for Seraphine stemmed purely from gratitude for sparing his life. But as days turned into weeks, he couldn't deny the pull he felt toward her. Her elegance was undeniable, yes, but it was her kindness beneath the regal facade that captivated him. When she laughed, a rare sound, it lit up the room like sunlight breaking through clouds. He caught glimpses of loneliness in her eyes, mirroring his own, and found himself wanting to bridge that gap. One afternoon, during a ceremonial banquet, Orion accidentally spilled wine onto the pristine tablecloth. Mortified, he muttered apologies, only to hear Seraphine chuckle softly beside him. "Relax, Orion," she teased. "Even queens make messes." That moment of levity broke some invisible barrier between them. They shared a smile, warm and genuine, unnoticed by the crowd around them. From then on, their stolen glances carried weight, each one charged with unspoken possibilities. Yet danger loomed on the horizon. Word spread among the courtiers about Seraphine's unusual interest in the human captive. Whispers filled corridors, speculating whether her actions jeopardized the sanctity of her vow. Some advisors warned her outright, their voices tinged with fear. "My queen," urged Lord Valen, her trusted counselor, "you risk upsetting the cosmic balance. This attachment must end." Seraphine listened silently, her expression unreadable. Inside, however, doubt gnawed at her resolve. Was she wrong to feel this connection? Or was it possible that destiny had plans beyond her vows? Tensions reached a boiling point when Seraphine decided to accompany Orion on a journey outside the palace walls. She wanted to show him the true wonders of Luminara, the floating islands suspended mid-air, the rivers that sang melodies as they flowed, the ancient ruins pulsating with forgotten magic. It was meant to be a gesture of goodwill, a chance for him to understand her world better. Instead, it became a test of loyalty, for both of them. As they ventured into the wilderness, flanked by a small escort of guards, whispers of rebellion began to circulate among the court. Lord Valen, ever vigilant, orchestrated a plot to seize control. Convinced that Seraphine's growing bond with Orion threatened the stability of Luminara, he rallied dissenters to his cause. By the time the queen and her companion returned from their expedition, They discovered the palace gates barred against them. Soldiers loyal to Valen stood ready, their crystalline weapons gleaming ominously in the fading light. "What is the meaning of this?" Seraphine demanded, her voice cutting through the tense silence. Valen stepped forward, his face grim but resolute. "Your Majesty, forgive me, but drastic measures are necessary. Your attachment to this human has clouded your judgment. For the sake of our people, you must step aside." Orion instinctively moved closer to Seraphine, his protective instincts kicking in. "You don't get to decide what's best for her," he growled, glaring at Valen. The tension crackled like electricity in the air, each side waiting for the other to make the first move. Before the situation escalated further, Seraphine raised a hand, silencing everyone. "Enough," she commanded, her voice ringing with authority. "This is my kingdom, and I will not be dictated to by fear or treachery." Turning to Orion, she added, "Stay close. Trust me." With that, she unleashed a display of power none present had ever witnessed. Her body radiated a brilliant light, forcing everyone, including Valen's men, to shield their eyes. The ground trembled beneath their feet as Seraphine summoned energy from the very core of Luminara. Streams of golden light shot forth, disarming the rebels without causing harm. It was a masterful demonstration of restraint and strength, leaving no doubt who truly commanded the throne. When the light faded, Seraphine addressed her subjects. "Let this serve as a reminder. I am your queen, bound by duty and love for Luminara. But I am also my own person, capable of choosing my path. If any of you still doubt my commitment to this world, then challenge me directly. Otherwise, stand down." Valen hesitated, visibly shaken, before finally bowing his head in submission. The other soldiers followed suit, retreating into the shadows. Though the immediate threat had been neutralized, the incident left scars. Rumors of betrayal spread like wildfire, fueling unrest among the populace. Many questioned whether Seraphine's newfound defiance signaled the beginning of the end for their peaceful society. Back inside the palace, Seraphine retreated to her private chambers, seeking solace in solitude. Orion joined her shortly after, concern etched across his features. "Are you all right?" he asked gently, placing a hand on her shoulder. She nodded, though her eyes betrayed the turmoil within. "I've spent centuries maintaining order," she confessed. "Now, it feels like I'm tearing it apart." "You're doing what's right," Orion reassured her. "Sometimes, change needs to happen, even if it scares people." His words offered comfort, yet uncertainty lingered. Both knew the road ahead would be fraught with challenges. Together, they resolved to face whatever came next, together. Despite the recent upheaval, life in the palace gradually returned to a semblance of normalcy. Seraphine continued to rule with wisdom and compassion, though her decisions now carried a subtle defiance that hinted at deeper transformation. Advisors tread cautiously around her, wary of provoking another confrontation. Meanwhile, Orion settled into his role as both guest and confidant, earning trust through his actions and unwavering support for the queen. Their bond deepened with each passing day, blossoming into something neither could ignore. Late-night conversations stretched into early mornings, laughter echoing through empty halls, shared meals becoming intimate rituals. Seraphine found herself opening up in ways she never thought possible, revealing vulnerabilities hidden beneath her regal exterior. In turn, Orion let down his guard, sharing stories of his past, the joys, the losses, the dreams he'd buried beneath layers of duty. One evening, as they strolled along the palace's highest balcony overlooking the glowing city below, Seraphine stopped abruptly. "Orion," she began, her voice trembling slightly, "there's something I need to tell you." He turned to face her, sensing the gravity in her tone. "Whatever it is, you can say it," he encouraged. Taking a deep breath, she confessed, "For centuries, I've lived by a vow, a sacred promise to remain untouched by romantic entanglements. It was meant to preserve my purity and safeguard Luminara's delicate balance. But since meeting you," she trailed off, searching for the right words. "Since meeting you, I've felt things I never imagined possible. Things I want to explore, even if it means risking everything." Orion's heart skipped a beat. "Do you mean—" "Yes," she whispered, her eyes glistening with emotion. I believe I'm falling in love with you." The admission hung in the air, heavy yet liberating. For a moment, neither spoke, the weight of her words sinking in. Then, with a mixture of tenderness and determination, Orion stepped closer. "If loving you means standing by your side through whatever storms come our way, then I'm ready," he said firmly. "I choose you, Seraphine. No matter what." Their embrace sealed the declaration, a silent promise binding them together. Yet, even as joy surged within them, reality loomed large. Love, they knew, would not shield them from the challenges ahead. Whispers of discontent still echoed through the corridors, fueled by those who feared change. The delicate balance of Luminara's ecosystem remained precariously tied to Seraphine's vow, a fact neither could ignore. Determined to navigate this uncharted territory, they vowed to face the future together. Plans were made to address the concerns of their people, to reassure them that progress did not equate to destruction. Public appearances became opportunities to showcase unity, with Seraphine introducing Orion not as a mere visitor but as her partner. While reactions varied, ranging from cautious optimism to outright hostility, one truth emerged clearly. The gorgeous alien queen had indeed broken her 1,000-year vow of celibacy, and she showed no signs of regret. As days turned into weeks, Seraphine and Orion prepared for the inevitable backlash. They knew that their love story was not just a personal affair, it was a seismic shift in the fabric of Luminaran society. To mitigate potential unrest, they devised a strategy to engage directly with their people. Seraphine announced a series of public addresses, inviting citizens from all corners of Luminara to voice their concerns and hopes. These gatherings, held in sprawling amphitheaters illuminated by bioluminescent flora, became forums for dialogue rather than division. During one such event, a young artisan named Kaelin stood up, her voice trembling but resolute. "Your Majesty," she began, addressing Seraphine, "we admire your courage, but many fear that abandoning tradition may destabilize our world. How can we trust that your choice won't harm us?" Seraphine exchanged a glance with Orion before responding. "Kaelin, your fears are valid, and I honor them. But let me assure you, my love for Orion does not diminish my love for Luminara. Together, we seek to build a future where tradition and progress coexist harmoniously. Change is difficult, yes, but it is also necessary for growth." Her words resonated deeply, sparking murmurs of approval among the crowd. Still, not everyone was swayed. Dissent simmered beneath the surface, particularly among factions led by former allies like Lord Valen. Though subdued for now, these groups plotted quietly, awaiting an opportunity to strike. Meanwhile, Orion worked tirelessly to earn the trust of Luminara's people. He immersed himself in their culture, learning crafts, participating in festivals, and even joining rescue missions during natural disasters caused by the planet's volatile energy fields. His efforts paid off, earning him admiration from many who initially viewed him with suspicion. Children began calling him the Star Soldier, a nickname symbolizing hope amid uncertainty. Yet, alongside these strides came moments of humor and levity. On one occasion, Orion attempted to cook a traditional Luminaran dish using ingredients unfamiliar to him. The result was a culinary disaster, a gooey, glowing mess that emitted faint musical notes when touched. Seraphine burst into laughter upon seeing it, clutching her sides as tears streamed down her cheeks. "Well," she teased, "at least it's entertaining." These lighter moments strengthened their bond, reminding them both that love thrived not just in grand gestures but in shared silliness too. However, the looming specter of danger refused to fade entirely. Reports surfaced of rogue militias forming in remote regions, intent on overthrowing Seraphine and restoring order. One night, as they reviewed intelligence updates, Orion clenched his fists in frustration. "We can't keep reacting to threats, we need to act." Seraphine nodded solemnly. "Then we prepare for battle. Not just physically, but emotionally. Our unity must become unbreakable." Thus began a new chapter in their journey, one marked by training sessions, strategic planning, and heartfelt conversations late into the night. Together, they fortified defenses around the palace, rallied loyalists to their cause, and honed their individual strengths. Seraphine tapped into ancient powers dormant within her, channeling energies that pulsed through Luminara's core. Orion, meanwhile, trained soldiers in advanced combat techniques, drawing from his years of experience in the IDC. As preparations intensified, so did their resolve. Each sunrise brought renewed determination, each sunset a reminder of what they stood to lose. Through it all, their love remained steadfast, a beacon guiding them through the storm. The first strike came without warning, shattering the fragile calm that had settled over Luminara. Under the cover of darkness, rebel forces launched a coordinated attack on the capital city, targeting key infrastructure and spreading chaos among the populace. Explosions rocked the streets, sending shockwaves through buildings adorned with glowing vines. Panic erupted as citizens fled for safety, their cries mingling with the eerie hum of collapsing energy barriers. Inside the palace, alarms blared incessantly, red lights flashing across every corridor. Seraphine sprang into action, her regal gown replaced by sleek battle armor infused with crystalline elements. Beside her, Orion strapped on his combat gear, his movements sharp and precise. "Stay close," he urged, gripping his weapon tightly. She nodded, her expression fierce yet composed. Together, they led a contingent of loyal soldiers toward the heart of the conflict. The battlefield was unlike anything Orion had ever encountered. Streets shimmered with residual energy from sabotaged power grids, casting an otherworldly glow over the carnage. Enemy fighters wielded weapons powered by stolen Luminaran technology, their attacks unpredictable and devastating. Amidst the chaos, Seraphine unleashed torrents of radiant energy, her strikes precise and lethal. Her presence alone inspired courage in their ranks, rallying defenders who might otherwise have faltered. Orion fought with equal ferocity, his military training blending seamlessly with instincts honed by desperation. He darted between adversaries, taking down foes with calculated efficiency. At one point, he spotted a group of civilians trapped beneath debris from a collapsed building. Without hesitation, he sprinted toward them, dodging blasts and leaping over rubble. Using sheer strength and ingenuity, he freed the terrified victims, ushering them to safety before rejoining the fray. Throughout the battle, Seraphine and Orion communicated through gestures and fleeting glances, their synchronization almost telepathic. When a massive explosion threatened to engulf a section of the city, Seraphine erected a protective barrier, shielding dozens of innocents from harm. Orion capitalized on the distraction, leading a counterattack that pushed back enemy lines. Their synergy was palpable, turning the tide in favor of the defenders. Yet, victory came at a cost. As dawn broke over the battered city, the toll of the night's horrors became painfully clear. Buildings lay in ruins, their once vivid colors dulled by ash and smoke. Bodies littered the streets, casualties of war indiscriminate in its brutality. Among the fallen was Captain Lyra, a trusted officer who had served under Seraphine for decades. Her sacrifice weighed heavily on the queen, who knelt beside her lifeless form, tears streaming down her face. Orion placed a comforting hand on her shoulder, offering silent support. Despite the devastation, hope flickered amidst the ashes. Survivors emerged from hiding, banding together to rebuild what had been lost. Volunteers worked tirelessly to restore power, mend wounds, and care for the displaced. Inspired by Seraphine and Orion's unwavering resolve, ordinary citizens found strength they never knew they possessed. Slowly but surely, the city began to heal. Back at the palace, Seraphine convened an emergency council meeting. Advisors, weary but determined, gathered around a holographic map displaying the extent of the damage. "This isn't over," she declared, her voice firm despite exhaustion. "We must root out the remaining insurgents and ensure this never happens again." Orion stood beside her, nodding in agreement. "They underestimated us once. Let's make sure they don't get a second chance." Plans were drawn, resources allocated, and strategies refined. Though battered, Luminara endured, not just because of its resilient people, but because of the indomitable spirit of its queen and her human ally. Together, they vowed to protect their home, no matter the cost. In the aftermath of the brutal attack, Seraphine and Orion retreated to a secluded garden within the palace grounds, a sanctuary untouched by the destruction. Surrounded by glowing flowers and the gentle hum of nocturnal creatures, they allowed themselves a rare moment of vulnerability. Exhaustion lined their faces, yet their eyes reflected a quiet determination. "We survived," Orion murmured, his voice rough with emotion. "But at what cost?" Seraphine sighed, leaning against him as if drawing strength from his presence. "Too much," she admitted softly. "Lyra, the city, everything we've built." Her voice cracked, betraying the weight of her grief. Orion wrapped an arm around her, pulling her closer. "It's not gone," he said firmly. "Not while we're still here to fight for it." Their conversation shifted between mourning and resolve, each word a testament to their shared burden. Seraphine spoke of guilt, the crushing responsibility of leadership colliding with the pain of loss. "I swore to protect them," she whispered. "And yet—" "You did everything you could," Orion interrupted, his tone unwavering. "No one could have predicted this. But look at what you've inspired. How people are coming together. That's because of you, Seraphine. Because of us." She looked up at him, her violet eyes shimmering with unshed tears. "How do you stay so strong?" she asked, half joking but genuinely curious. He chuckled dryly. "I'm not always," he confessed. "Sometimes I feel like I'm barely holding it together. But knowing you're counting on me, that gives me something to hold on to." Their laughter was brief but heartfelt, a fleeting reprieve from the heaviness pressing down on them. They reminisced about lighter moments, the disastrous cooking attempt, the impromptu dance under the twin moons, and found solace in memories that reminded them why they fought so fiercely. "If we make it through this," Orion teased, "promise me we'll never try baking again." Seraphine smiled despite herself. "Deal. Though I suppose we could always hire someone else to handle dinner." As dawn approached, painting the sky in soft hues of pink and gold, they sat in companionable silence, watching the first rays of sunlight filter through the trees. The road ahead remained uncertain, fraught with challenges neither could fully anticipate. Yet, in that quiet moment, surrounded by beauty born of resilience, they reaffirmed their commitment, not just to each other, but to the future they envisioned for Luminara. "We'll rebuild," Seraphine said finally, her voice steady. "Stronger than before. And we'll do it together." Orion squeezed her hand, offering a reassuring smile. "Always." Though scars would linger, both visible and unseen, they faced them side by side, united by love, purpose, and an unyielding belief in brighter days to come. Years passed, and though the scars of war remained etched into the landscape of Luminara, so too did the evidence of renewal. The once shattered city had been rebuilt, its streets now adorned with even more vibrant bioluminescent flora, a testament to resilience. Under Seraphine's leadership, bolstered by Orion's unwavering support, Luminara flourished in ways no one could have imagined. The planet became a beacon of hope not just for its own people but for neighboring worlds as well. Stories of unity, courage, and love spread across galaxies, inspiring others to embrace change rather than fear it. For Seraphine and Orion, life unfolded in unexpected yet beautiful ways. Their bond deepened with each passing day, transforming from a whirlwind romance born out of defiance into an enduring partnership rooted in trust and mutual respect. Together, they faced challenges that tested their strength: political unrest, environmental shifts, and lingering doubts among factions still resistant to change, but every obstacle only strengthened their resolve. One fateful morning, as the twin suns rose over the horizon, casting golden light across the palace gardens, Seraphine stood at the edge of a glowing pond, her hands resting gently on her rounded belly. She smiled softly, feeling the faint flutter of movement within her. Beside her, Orion knelt, placing his hand over hers. "Do you think they'll inherit your shimmering skin?" he teased, his green eyes twinkling with mischief. "Or maybe my stubborn streak?" Seraphine laughed, the sound melodic and warm. "Perhaps both," she replied, her voice filled with wonder. "Though I suspect they'll be far more extraordinary than either of us." The arrival of their children marked a new chapter in their lives, one brimming with joy, laughter, and the kind of redemption only parenthood could bring. Their firstborn, a daughter named Nyx, inherited her mother's amethyst eyes and radiant grace, while their second child, a son named Solon, bore Orion's sharp jawline and adventurous spirit. From the moment they entered the world, Nyx and Solon were celebrated as symbols of harmony, a blending of human tenacity and alien elegance. Raising them was no small feat, especially given the unique demands of royal life. Yet, Seraphine and Orion approached parenting with the same determination they brought to ruling Luminara. They instilled in their children values of empathy, curiosity, and courage, teaching them to cherish tradition while remaining open to innovation. Nyx often accompanied her mother during diplomatic missions, absorbing lessons in leadership and diplomacy, while Solon shadowed his father, learning about strategy and exploration. Both children thrived under this balance of guidance and freedom, growing into remarkable individuals who embodied the best of both worlds. Beyond their immediate family, Seraphine and Orion worked tirelessly to heal the wounds inflicted upon their society. They implemented reforms aimed at fostering inclusivity, ensuring that all voices, from artisans like Kalen to farmers tending luminescent crops, were heard and valued. Public forums became regular occurrences, where citizens gathered to celebrate achievements, address grievances, and dream collectively about the future. Slowly but surely, dissent faded, replaced by a sense of shared purpose. Even those who had once opposed them found themselves won over, not through coercion or punishment, but through acts of kindness and understanding. Lord Valen, humbled by the resilience of the Queen and her consort, eventually sought reconciliation. Though he never fully regained his former position, he dedicated his later years to chronicling the history of Luminara, penning volumes that acknowledged mistakes made and triumphs achieved. His writings served as a reminder that redemption was possible, even for those who had strayed. As decades slipped by, Seraphine and Orion grew older together, their hair streaked with silver and their faces lined with wisdom earned through experience. They watched with pride as Nyx took her place as heir to the throne, her leadership style a harmonious blend of her parents' strengths. Solon, meanwhile, ventured beyond Luminara's borders, exploring distant stars and forging alliances that expanded the reach of peace and prosperity. Both carried forward the legacy of unity their parents had fought so hard to create. On quiet evenings, when the palace halls were hushed and the glow of the twin moons bathed their chambers in soft light, Seraphine and Orion would sit together, reflecting on their journey. "Do you ever wonder what might have happened if your ship hadn't crashed here?" Seraphine asked one night, her head resting against his shoulder. "I do," Orion admitted, chuckling softly. "But then I remember how lucky I am that it did. I wouldn't trade this life, or you, for anything." She smiled, reaching up to cup his cheek. "Neither would I. You've given me something I never thought I'd have, a family, a purpose beyond duty, and a love that feels like home." Their final years were spent surrounded by loved ones, their legacy secure in the hearts of those they touched. When the time came for Seraphine to pass the mantle of leadership to Nyx, she did so with grace, knowing the future was in capable hands. And when Orion followed soon after, leaving behind tales of bravery and devotion, their names became synonymous with hope and transformation. In the end, their story was not just one of survival or victory. It was a testament to the power of love to transcend boundaries, heal divisions, and forge a brighter path forward. On Luminara, where twin suns kissed the horizon and glowing forests whispered secrets to the wind, the gorgeous alien queen and her human soldier were remembered not merely as rulers, but as pioneers of a new era. Their love had rewritten destiny, proving that even amidst chaos, there is always room for redemption, growth, and happiness.